Okay guys, here we go. I'm going to show you how I built this drone. Alright, I have some people saying they don't want to watch a 2-hour video of me building a drone. And I try to do it in a creative way to where you get the full experience. And that's what I'm about. I'm about you getting the full experience that I get and everything I go through to build a drone. But I understand a 2-hour video is too much to watch. So I'll show you what I'm doing today, and we'll try to make it a little bit more viewer friendly. So I've got these two drones here, and this one is the flip switch, 533 flip switch. And the problem I'm having with this drone is the flight controller, whenever I do a roll, it jitters. And it's done it ever since I've got the flight controller. Well, something that has happened with this is the USB port has actually came off. And I can't tune it anymore. Which, it's still usable, but not for what I want to use it for, because I actually want to put different motors on this, so I'm going to have to redo some things on this one. And then I got the cheat code. The cheat code has the Supernova motors on it. This thing is badass. It's really fast, but I end up taking the camera out of it, and I kind of want to make this a long range type drone. And even though these motors are good for that, and the flight controller is good for that, I think I want to make it look a little bit nicer and a little bit lighter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the flight controller out of this one, and the whole stack out of this one, and put it in this one, and probably the motors too from now for right now, because I want this one to really rip. I want to make like this for now. I want this one to be like one of the best drones out there, and I know the parts on this drone made this drone really fast. So we're going to take the parts off this drone and put it on this drone, and we're going to make something completely fast. And I'm sure you don't want to watch me freaking take all this apart. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take these two drones like this, and then there you go, guys. So we're going to now put this stuff together. Alright guys, so we're putting this drone back together, and I've got to put the lead through the frame, so I got to redo the lead and everything. Make sure all my motor tabs are all nice and soldered. Clean everything up in between. And I want to make sure this is waterproof, so I paint it and make it look nice. We're going to put motor tabs on this, motor plugs. So the reason why I'm putting motor plugs on is this is going to be my review drone. So you can tell that I solder the plug up first, and then I solder the wires on the plug. I solder the wires up first, and then I solder the wires onto the plug. So there we got 4 motors. Now I'm going to move on to the ESC. So we're going to solder the leads onto the ESC, and then we're going to solder the capacitor to the lead pads. And then we're going to do the motor wires next. So I'm prepping all the motor wires and the tabs, make sure everything's nice and clean. And we're going to put the wires on there nice and pretty. Clean it all up with alcohol, and then I'm going to paint over it, that way everything's waterproof. So that's what I'm doing right here, is I'm putting a paint pen on it to make sure everything's nice and sealed tight and waterproof. Now we have a bulletproof ESC. I like the colors red, white, and blue, so I go with the colors red, white, and blue. Now we're prepping the ESC motor plugs. Go ahead and put the motors on the drone. Now what I want to do with this flight controller is I want to go ahead and mount all the wires to this flight controller. So every wire that I think I'll need, I'm going to go ahead and mount those wires. Clean it all up with alcohol again. So the wires that we just mounted was for the walk snail. We've already got the receiver on there, so now we're going to put the GPS wires. That's what we're working on right now, is the GPS wires. Now I got them all on there, so we're going to take epoxy and mix it up, and we're going to epoxy everything in, and that's going to make it waterproof. and this is basically bulletproofing the flight controller. So this thing is totally water sealed now. We're going to go and let it dry while we put on the ESC. So we got the flight controller back now, and I painted that blue off camera. So I put new grommets on it right here because I wasn't too happy with the grommets that are on it. So we got brand new grommets on it, or gummies, the rubber gummies. Now I'm looking up everything. I'm looking up the flight controller, the walk snail, and everything. I like to have everything in front of me whenever I'm working on these, so I make everything right the first time. So now we got the flight controller installed. We're installing the top plate and the tail. Now we're going to start working on the wires coming off the ESC. And I want them to be cut perfectly, so I'm mounting them down with zip ties and cutting the wires. Now they're all cut perfectly. I'm going to strip the wires, and then I'm going to start soldering them. Flux, solder, flux, and then mount them to the wires. Now all the wires are mounted by soldering them on, and I'm pushing all the plastic pieces down on it. Now I'm going to solder up the camera wires. Putting shrink wrap on those camera wires. We're fluxing them, and we're soldering them. We fluxed them again, and now we're going to start joining them together. Everything's together. Now we're going to put the shrink wrap on and heat up the shrink wrap. I'm tucking the wires in. Now I am looking at the GPS wires and wondering how I'm going to route the GPS wires. So I got a mini Goku, and I'm trying to make it work, and it's not working too well. So I end up discarding the mini Goku because of the pads are off of it. But I'm trying my best to make it work, and it's not working. So, time to move on to another GPS. And I found an old Darwin GPS, but I don't have any wires for it, and I'm searching for the wires, and can't find any wires for it. I think I actually did find some wires for it and end up soldering something to it. Yeah, I did find some wires. Now we're going to add shrink wrap to that, solder this in, and this is going to get upgraded. We have a new tail that's got a GPS mount on it, so this is just temporary. I want to see if this GPS works. So I cut off all the zip ties. I'm mounting the camera on top of it with the top. Zip tying down the antenna and the capacitor and everything in the back. Now, whenever I turned it on, I wasn't too happy with that capacitor, the way it sounded. And I felt like everything was in a pinch. So, here I'm adding a different capacitor. And we're going to go a little bit smaller. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but I have a capacitor at the end of my battery lead and a capacitor on the pads of my battery. So now I'm sticking down the GPS. I got it on a double stick pad, and I got it zip tied at the same time. I zip tie my antenna on the back of the tail. Now the reason why I run tails on my drones is because when I record in third person so you can see the product on the drone. So now we got two battery straps. So here you go, you got the 533 flip switch, and this has got the AOS Supernova motors by Chris Rosser. It's got a walk snail unit up front here, and it doesn't require any mount because the walk snail avatar actually fits behind the metal camera mount in the frame, and it locks it into place. I put motor plugs on here in case I want to change motor plugs out. I have a 55 amp ESC and a T-motor HD F7 flight controller on here. and then my antenna is right here, and I put a GPS on here. I'm just curious on seeing if this GPS works or not. It was just a cheap one. I threw it on here just to see if it worked or not. And then yep, that's pretty much it. I got the T-motor stack and the Supernovas and the walks now, and on the 533 flip switch. And I think this is going to be a badass drone. Let's go watch it fly.
When the gloom's around, the cold sun is dawn, going on till dawn, going on till dawn. I will keep my guard, rumbling all around. I will know when it comes crashing.
Alright guys, so with this build, it runs pretty fast. I feel locked in. I really feel locked in.
Got 100 miles per hour on that flight, but these are prototype props, so they are different.